Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Dandavat Pranam Prabhu
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam. Okay, we'll share the screen.
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam. Okay. So Swagatam to all of you. So how was your morning today? Blissful chanting? Blissful remembering of the Lord?
Yes, Prabhu.
That's how all the mornings are.
Yes, Prabhu. Wonderful.
So Prabhupada said that you get up in the morning and take darshan of the deities, right? The Mangalarati, chanting the holy name. Just imagine how your day has started. Day has started with such glorious and wonderful manner, and you'll see the whole day will be nectarian blissful. That's what Prabhupada said. So for us, practicing devotees, sadhakas, we need the morning nectar, very important for us. And by doing that, we will see slowly we become purer in our thought and consciousness. Though we may stay in an environment of impurity, but we will continue to remain pure, right? That's the beauty of this entire program that Prabhupada has given us. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so let's read today Srimad Bhagavatam from Canto 11. So far successfully we've done about 10 cantos. So how you all feel about the first canto?
10 chapters. Very nice, Prabhu.
We want to hear some comments from at least 3-4 devotees. How has been your journey in the first 10 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam that you went through?
Be glorious.
Okay, saying glorious, saying nice is okay, but any specific things that you can highlight will be nice.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu, as we were going through, we could get a few values which can be implemented in our daily life, Prabhu. So doing that was difficult early days, but slowly when we started practicing now, Prabhu, it's become a little comfortable and feeling so like clean, like Prabhu. That is what my realization is, Prabhu.
Okay, so your life transformation you're talking. Okay, good. Anyone else wants to comment? We want to hear from any new devotees. They're attending. Many new devotees are attending, but they would like to comment.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, by reciting the slokas, by understanding the meaning, so I'm enjoying Prabhu. The meaning is through that. So it is moving very nicely, Prabhu. But slowly, as Mataji said, we are realizing the truth, how we can change our lifestyle also, Prabhu. What the Rishis said, the great people said, and how the prayers, even in the time of difficulty, Bhishma and Kunti Maharani, they all prayed, Prabhu. So even I think in the difficulty, we should not forget the Lord. We should remember all those verses. It should come, Prabhu. I'm praying for that. Hare
Good
Krishna.
point. In difficult times, we should remember the Lord more, right? Now, in the material consciousness, what we do, in difficult times, we blame the Lord. Oh, I did all these things to you, but you let me down. I did all these things to you, you put me in difficulty. So they blame the Lord. This is how atheists behave. Theist, lover of God consciousness, what he would like to surrender more to the Lord to show his affection, to show his love. Yeah, very important point. Anyone
Prabhuji,
else?
recently
Yes.
one incident happened, Prabhu, to me.
Uh-huh.
So then also, Prabhu, I wasn't shattered, but because of the learning, hearing all the scriptures, so it is him. He came in the form of the Kala and he took away. I was thinking like that only, Prabhu. That's all. I don't lament. I didn't. For a second, as a human being, will be getting cry. I cried, but for a 2 minutes or I don't know, Prabhu. After that, I kept no. It is him. He has done. It may be good for me. That's all, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Good point. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, after listening till 10 cantos, I started loving more God and want to become more attached to God, whatever may be the circumstances. I'm daily facing so many circumstances. Still, I'm not getting distracted, but I'll be attracted to Lord, and I'm always praying God to help me out and to take care of all those things. That is your job I'm doing. Please take care like that. I'll pray and I'll be keep on going, Prabhu.
Excellent. Very good. Okay. Good points.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay. Anyone last?
ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ ದಂಡವತ್ ಪ್ರಣಾಮ್.
Yes, Mataji.
ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ, ನನ್ನ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮೊದಲೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಏನೋ ಪೂಜೆ 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾಡೋದು, 10 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು. ಬಟ್ ಈ ಕೇಸಿಗೆ ಬಂದ ನಂತರ ನಾವು ಜಪಕ್ಕೆ 2 hours ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಭಾಗವತಂ ಓದೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ಗೆ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ ನಂತರ ನೀವ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ಪರ್ಪಟ್ನ ಓದಿ, ಆ ಶ್ಲೋಕವನ್ನ ಬಹ್ಯಾಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ನ ನೀವು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲೇ ನೀವು ಏನದನ್ನ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀರೋ ಅದನ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನಕ್ಕೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀರಾ. ಸೊ ಅದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ, ಆ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ವರ್ಡ್ ಓದ್ಬೇಕಾದಾಗ, ಆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಓದ್ಬೇಕಾದಾಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ದಿರಂಗೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ಭಗವಂತಂದು ಒಂದೊಂದು ಓದ್ಬೇಕಾದಾಗ ನಾವ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷ ನಮ್ ಲೈಫ್ ನ ಹಾಳ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೀವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಗ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಬರೀ ಭಗವಂತನ ಧ್ಯಾನ ಮಾಡಿ, ಭಗವಂತನ ಸ್ಮರಣೆ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಾವು ಅವನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೀವು ದಾರಿ ತೋರ್ಸೋದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಗ್ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನಿಜ ನಾವು ಅದೃಷ್ಟ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಈ ಜಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದ್ ಸೇರಿರೋದು ನಾವು ತುಂಬಾ ಅದೃಷ್ಟ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಇದನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಸಹಿತ ನಮ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಕೆಲವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಅವ್ರು ತಗೊಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದನ್ನ ತುಂಬಾ ಫೀಲ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ ನನ್ಗೆ. ಬಟ್ ನನ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ 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 ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗಿದೆ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ ಇದು. ನನಗೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಸಿಕ್ದಾಗಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಆದಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಬೇಗ ಕೆಲಸ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಇನ್ನೊಂಚೂರು ಓದ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಆ ಭಗವಂತನ ಇನ್ನ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಕೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬಂದಿದೆ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಪೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈಂಡು ನನಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ತುಂಬಾ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ. ನನಗೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರೋದಂತೂ, ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅಂತೂ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರೋದಂತೂ ನನ್ನ ಭಾಗ್ಯ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ. ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ, ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಪ್ರಣಾಮ.
ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ, ದಂಡೋತ್ ಪ್ರಣಾಮ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ.
Yes, Mataji.
ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ, ಬೇಗನೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಲೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಲಿಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ. ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನ ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂತ ಒಂಥರ ಫಾಲ್ಟ್ ಫೈಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಮಾತಾಜಿಸು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಫಾಲ್ಟ್ ಫೈಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅದು ಮೇಜರ್ ಇದು. ಸೊ ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಹೋಗಿದೆ. ಯಾವ ತರನು ಮೈಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಏನ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೋ ಅದ್ ಅವತ್ತಿಂದ ಅವ್ರ ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಅವ್ರೇನ್ ಕೆಲ್ಸ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೋ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದ್ ಎರಡೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಐ ಆಮ್ ಲೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಲಿಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ.
Okay.
ಹರೇ ದಂಡೋತ್ ಪ್ರಣಾಮ.
Okay, thank you all. So, my only request to all whoever is attending here and others who are not attending is reading scriptures, attending classes, associating devotees. Yeah, it is very good. But please engage yourself in services. There are two services that I am requesting you for. One, I request all of you to engage yourself in preaching service. Somehow, this knowledge of Krishna, the knowledge of practices of spirituality, must reach other living entities. You can start with your near and dear. You can start with your friends. Or get help. Even one simple example. If you look at my relationship with you, it is not that I am your own brother or cousin or uncle or aunt, nothing like that, right? I was somewhere, you were somewhere. Now we are taking certain responsibility to give this subject knowledge to each one of you. So similarly, without looking at borders, without looking at any conditions, I request each one of you to take up this responsibility of giving the spiritual knowledge to others in a regular manner. That should be a goal of your life. Like that, you should take it up, right? So preaching as a service, I'm requesting greater participation. How much ever you love your Lord, that expression of love of Lord is what you will you will deliver through your classes and your preaching to others. That's the exact point. The greater the love, you will see the greater the preacher he will be. Right? So that's how it is. So I request all of you, please do it. Okay? That's the first request. Second request. When you get services, be it the temple or be it the center, please take it up more seriously, because services bring two things. One, it builds relationships. Second, it makes us more humble, right? By doing services regularly, when we are becoming humble, we attract the mercy of other Vaishnavas, attract the mercy of the Lord. And that attraction of mercy will give us benediction, will progress in spiritual life. So it is very important that you should practice these two, right? As we grow in size, as we grow in many locations and places, I request each of you to speak up, communicate nicely, and take up this. There's no loss in communicating. The more you communicate, the greater it is going to be. The lesser you communicate, we don't understand what is running in your mind, what do you want to do, what is it we can solve your problem. And it's less you communicate means it's a dejection for us, because, oh, so much effort we are putting, but this Prabhuji, this Mataji is very silent. We don't know what he wants, what she wants. So please communicate. Communicate rightly, take up services, and preach as much as possible. Okay? That's my humble request today's morning before we start the class. Okay?
Oh, it reminds me of what you have put today, Prabhupada's
Message.
How nicely he dealt with them.
Just dealing with impersonalists, how Prabhupada is so efficient. Huh? How wonderfully he deals. Every move of Prabhupada always fascinates me. How he did that,
Prabhu, I did not understand that message, Prabhu. Can you please elaborate, Prabhu?
Okay, we'll discuss that later on. Otherwise, we'll not do the class. Read once again, you will understand. Very simple. It was impersonalist. How to deal with them? Prabhupada never took a angry situation of, oh, you're doing this, you're doing nonsense. He never took that. When he discussed with them, they were saying that they know all these things. Then Prabhupada said, go do the preaching. He did not go into argumentative mode, right? So always keeping the objective. Objective is serving the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Okay, whatever is favorable to that, he will do it. What is unfavorable, he won't do. That is Prabhupada. Right? So we have to learn from that. Okay, we'll offer prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadadi Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. This is chapter 11 from Canto 1. Okay, now we saw the pastimes of Krishna departing Hastinapur. Now he is entering Dwaraka. Krishna departing Hastinapur is Vipralambarasa, right? Love and separation. That's what all the bhaktas experienced. Now Krishna entering Dwaraka is love in unification. It is Sammoha. Sammoha means unite, to stay together and experience that love. We also discussed about Parakya and Swakya, right? Parakya is love in separation and Swakya is love in unification, right? All these rasas we discussed. So now we will see how Krishna entered, what was the scene, and how people consciousness transformed, and what all they did, how they glorified the Lord, how they offered nice presentations and beautiful offerings to the Lord. Very, very important, right? And at the end of it, when Lord entered, how he reciprocated with those devotees. Okay, so this is what we will see in this chapter. And once this chapter is over, the next chapter onwards, we will get into the life of Parikshit Maharaj. Who is Parikshit? What all his life, what all his qualities, what all his activities, everything we'll discuss very detailed about Parikshit Maharaj, right? Okay, so now we'll do chapter 11, text 1. Suta vacha anartan sa upavrajya swadhan janapadan swakan dadmau daravaram tesham vishadam samayan iva. Translation. Suta Goswami said, upon reaching the border of his most prosperous metropolis, Dwaraka, known as the country of Anarthas, Dwaraka, the Lord sounded his auspicious conch shell, heralding his arrival, and apparently pacifying the dejection of the inhabitants. Right? So when the Lord is entering the borders, right, generally those days, a particular kingdom is denoted by a huge arch. There'll be an arch, okay? And once you see that arch, that means you know this is the border of this kingdom and you're entering this kingdom, right? So when Krishna entered, something like that, immediately what he did, he took the conch shell and blew the conch shell. Now, what does conch shell denote? So, for example, in Bhagavad Gita also you see when Krishna blew his Panchajanya conch shell, it gave two meanings. The first set of the meaning was all the people who are fighting against, it created fear in their hearts. Oh, the big war is begun. We don't know whether we're going to win or not. I don't know whether I'm doing the right thing or not. Am I working for a capable leader or I'm working for a right leader? I don't know. And whether I'll die or will I go back home, they don't know. So fear instinct. Now, these are all the people who had no proper faith or no proper understanding of the God. Okay? So you see, fear instilled. But for devotees, especially the Pandavas and the army of Pandavas, when they heard the Panchajanya, they heard the reverse of this feeling. When they heard the sound of Panchajanya, what happened to them? Their heart nourished. Okay, whatever fear I had, that went away. Whatever doubts I had, that went away. And that's the glory of this conch. So, you see, Prabhupada says, his arrival apparently pacifying the dejection of inhabitants. Now, look at the dejection. Dejection means here, people don't know what they're doing. They're very sad. They don't know, okay, what is there in future of our life. Our leader is not present. Our worshipable Lord is not present. What else is the meaning of life? Like that, they're dejected. They don't know what to do in their life. Okay? But once they hear, immediately you see the nourishment begins. Similarly, sometimes we leave our children home and the parents, the mother generally goes out. He said, hey, stay, Papa, stay at home. I'll come back and then I'll take care of you. But for hours together, he may be alone and then he'll feel dejected. I don't know when mommy is going to come, when she's going to come, because there is some fear in his heart, right? But once he hears the sound of his mother coming, you see, immediately he's in enjoyment. He'll immediately come near the door and wait for the door to open and then come and hug his mom, right? So similarly, this is the mood and the consciousness of citizens. They're just waiting for the Lord. So the seventh sloka of Sikshashtakam, what does it say? Yugayitam nimishena chakshusha prarvashayitam shunyayitam jagat govinda virahena. So he's saying Govinda virahena. One minute of association or one small fraction of time of association loss is like 11 years of no association with the Lord. That long it looks like. So I cannot be separate from my Lord. So that consciousness in their heart got completely eradicated. And they felt completely joyful, right? So that's what Prabhupada says. So you see how auspiciousness begins. Auspiciousness begins like this, right? It fills the heart with nectar. Okay, now let's look at the next sloka, 11.2. Sa vuchakashe davalodara daro api urukramasya darasano sonima dadmaya manaha karakanja sampute etabjakande kalahamsa utsvanaha. Translation. The white, fat, bold conch shell being gripped by the hand of Lord Krishna and sounded by him appeared to be reddened by the touch of his transcendental lips, right? It seemed that a white swan was playing in the stems of the red lotus flower. Okay, so the analogy here is very simple. Anything material, when it comes to spiritual contact, that material becomes spiritualized, right? So the best example we can think of is Mahaprasadam, right? We prepare boga. Boga is all material things that is harvested from soil, fruits, grains, and all these things. They're harvested and they're completely material in nature. But once they are prepared for the pleasure of the Lord and offered as boga, it becomes prasadam. A material transforms into spiritual, right? The consciousness of living entities. We living entities are completely material in our consciousness. We are always thinking we are the center of life. We always want our enjoyment. We always want to be victorious. We don't have consciousness about God or anything like that. but by spiritual association, like Srila Prabhupada coming and giving us this knowledge, right? By spiritual association, this material consciousness of devotee is transforming into spiritual consciousness. And that's the beauty. So similarly, the conch shell is just white in color, nothing great about it. But by the touch of the lips of the Lord, it completely became red, the transformation, right? So that's what Prabhupada is trying to highlight. He says, anything coming in spiritual connect will transform. Because spiritual is a higher plane compared to material plane, right? Now, it is also told here, it seems that a white sun was playing in the stems of a lotus flower, right? So there are two meanings here. The first meaning is if you go back and read the creation is like this. You will see the creation is like a white stem, a long, thin stem, and then all the planets around it, right? So we have 14 stacks of planet, right? The top 7, the middle, and then bottom 6, right? So bottom 7. So what happens is this 14 stack of planets are revolving around the stem. Okay. Now in creation also, if you look at it, Brahmaji is been born from a lotus flower, right? And he's sitting on top of this lotus flower. It looks like the whole of his activity is around the lotus flower, which is around the stem. So now, this scenario that we're Lord blowing the conch shell is like a swan. What does a swan do is, if you go to a lake, he'll just swim in between the lotus flowers. So it'll look like the swan going around the lotus flower. In between them, it goes and then comes like that. So like that, Prabhupada is giving that analogy about Lord taking the conch shell and blowing it, right? Oh, it's not moving. Yeah. So everything becomes spiritually reddened like this conch shell in the grip of the Lord. And the Paramahamsa, or the supremely intelligent person, plays the part of the ducking swan in the water of spiritual bliss, eternally decorated by the lotus flower of Lord's feet, right? So that's the scenario that Prabhupada is explaining. How does it look like when Krishna blew the conch shell? Okay. Now let's look at next sloka, 11.3. Tam upashru. Yes, Mataji.
The swan playing in the stems of red lotus flowers, I didn't get it, Prabhu. I didn't understand how it becomes transcendental.
No, see, the lotus flowers are completely spiritual. Okay? The swan is a regular being which, by going in between the lotus flower, is equivalent to a material object coming in connection with a spiritual being, completely getting spiritualized. That's the example he's giving.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. 11.3. Tam upashrutya ninagam jagat bhayavaham pratyudyuhu praja sarva bhratur darshana lalashaha. Translation. The citizens of Dwarka, having heard that sound which threatens fear personified in the material world. Who is fear personified? Death, right? And Yamaraj. Okay, this sound can even threaten him and his activities. That means what? It means that anyone who comes in the association with the sound of the Lord will not get any more death. They will not be into birth, death, old age, disease. He will be completely liberated. That's what it means. Began to run towards him fast. Whatever they were doing some activities. Maybe some was cooking, some was doing gardening, some was doing some cleaning. Everything they just left. People in shops, things like that. They heard this sound. Oh, this is Krishna who's arrived. They didn't care. They just left. And then they went towards, the sound, which is where the Lord is, right? So this is exactly the point. Prabhupada says Krishna is like the magnet and we are all like the iron fillings, right? Wherever there is source of attraction, the natural course of the iron fillings is to move towards that magnet and get attracted to it and touch it, right? So that's exactly the example here. Just to have a long desired audience with the Lord, who is the protector of all devotees. Okay, can someone read this highlight? We'll switch off the camera. Yeah, someone read the highlight.
Hare Krishna. As already explained, the citizens of Dwarka who lived at the time of Lord Krishna's presence, there were all liberated souls who descended there along with the Lord as an entourage. all were very anxious to have an audience with the Lord. Although because of spiritual contact, they were never separated from the Lord. Just as gopis at Vrindavana used to think of Krishna while he was away from the village.
Village of cowherding engagements.
Village of cowherd engagements. The citizens of Dwaraka were all immersed in thought of Lord while he was away from Dwaraka to attend the Battle of Kurukshetra. Some distinguished fiction writer in Bengal concluded that the Krishna of Vrindavana, that of Mathura, and that of Dwaraka were different personalities. Historically, there is no truth in this conclusion. The Krishna of Kurukshetra and the Krishna of Dwaraka are one and the same personality. Hare Krishna.
One and the same personality. Okay. So now, what does Prabhupada says? Even though they were physically separated, but they were always united in heart because of the remembrance, right? The remembrance of the Lord was so intense, whether Lord was present in Mathura or Vrindavana or Hastinapura, wherever it may be, there was so much conscious. They're always thinking about the Lord. Whatever action they did, they think of the Lord. And Prabhupada says this is the highest, forms of devotion. What is the highest form of devotion? To always remember the Lord at any point in time. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anushmara yuddhayacha. Krishna told Arjuna, you fight this war, but always remember me in this war. Right? So that means even in the most difficult activities or most simplest activities, remembrance of the Lord for everything that you do, everything that you speak, everything that you see is the most important aspect of devotion. And that's what Prabhupada is insisting here. Right? And exactly the denizens of Dwaraka, they were all doing that. Okay. Now there is a word called melancholy that's been used here. If you see in the bottom of the paragraph, right? Now, what does melancholy means? Melancholy means an unexplainable sadness, right? You see, everything will be fine, but you'll ask the devotee, Prabhuji, everything looks okay in your life, but why are you dejected? Why you look morose? Why you look sad? He will say, Prabhu, I don't know why I'm sad. I don't know why these things are happening, but I'm not feeling jubilant in my heart. This is called melancholy. And all the Dwarakavasis were in melancholy. Why? Because even though they were remembering the Lord, they were, in happiness and things like that, somewhere there was sadness also mixed with it. Why? Because of the absence of the Lord not being present. And one of the complaints they had was, oh Lord, you always travel off to Vrindavan, you always travel off to Mathura, you always travel off to Hastinapur, you travel to various places, you leave us alone. When you leave us alone, we feel that sadness, right? So Prabhupada is explaining the in-depth devotion that the Dwarakavasis were demonstrating. Now let's look at the sound, right? Now we heard two theories. One is the name of the Lord is not different from the Lord, right? So when we say Krishna, it denotes to the Supreme Lord Krishna, his rupa, his form, his activities, his pastimes. Immediately all those things will come into picture, right? Now, if you forget Krishna, if someone tells you Lord Krishna, what will you immediately remember? Immediately you will see, you will picturize the Vigraha of the Lord. You will immediately remember his pastimes. You will remember some nice slokas about the Lord. See, this is called name of the Lord, and Lord is not different. Similarly, the sound of the Lord is also not different from the name of the Lord and the activities of the Lord. So when Lord Krishna blew the Panchajanya, the beauty is the Panchajanya conch as the sound is so unique from all the conch shells that are in the creation that one can identify it is Lord Krishna who has come. Right? So that is the beauty, and hence they understand this is unique and this is not different from the Lord. Right? So Prabhupada explains that. Okay. Can someone read this yellow highlight?
Hare Krishna. The whole material existence is full of problems, and thus the fear is always prominent. This is due to our association with the illusory energy of the Lord, known as Maya or external energy. Yet all fear is vanished as soon as there is sound of the Lord represented by his holy name, as it is sounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the following 16 words: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We can take advantage of these sounds and be free from all threatening problems of material existence. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So now he is giving a form to that sound. Which is that form? The Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What does this sound do? It soothes one's heart. Just like the rays of moonlight that falls on one person and then he feels cool and nice. This sound of the Hare Krishna mantra soothes one's heart and all the material anxieties are relieved. Right? And this Hare Krishna mantra is not different from the Lord. And that's what Prabhupada is trying to explain here. Okay? So, what shall we do? What is intelligence? We should always take shelter of the holy name of the Lord and be completely in blissful state, completely bereft of fear. This is the pastime that we always denote with Narsingha. When Lord Nrsimha came, he was actually Ugra Nrsimha. When he manifested out of the pillar, the Ugra of the Lord was so intense. It is considered to be the highest form of anger that one can ever see in life. Right? And that's the anger he demonstrated. He demonstrated that anger through his eyes, through his gestures, and his bodily postures. Right? Now, Hiranyakashipu, who was seeing this, was frightened by this form of the Lord because he's never seen a form more Ugram than this. But the same Prahlad Maharaj, who's only 5 years old, who's so small, he saw this form of the Lord and he felt very blissful. He felt very, very happy, nourished in his heart. See, that is the difference between practice of devotion and practice of non-devotion. This sound, the sound incarnation of the Lord, completely eradicates all the fear in the mind. Okay? Now let's read sloka number 4 and 5. Tatropanitta balayo raver deepam ivadritaha atma ramam purna kamam nijalabena nityada priti utfulla mukha prochur harsha gadgadaya gira pitaram sharva shuhurdam avitaram ivabakaha. Translation. So look at this keywords. The keyword is upanita. Okay? Upanita means tatropanita balayo. According to one's strength, whatever they had, they came and offered all the respects. Right? They offered respects. They expressed their love by giving presentations, gifts. They paid obeisances. And some of them started to glorify the Lord because he's Uttama Sloke. Glorify the Lord with wonderful verses and stanzas. Right? So this is exactly what we also do coming to the temple. When we come to the temple, what we do? We see the deities. Right? Here, you may consider both ways. The deities are greeting us, and we are also greeting the deities in our heart, both ways. Right? So now what do? When we come to temple, we look at the Lord. We look at Jagannath and say, oh, Jagannath, you're Nilachala, you're Nivashaya. Like that you say. Right? When you say Radha and Krishna, you say, oh, Krishna, you are the friend of all the living entities in this entire creation. You are the only savior. You are the only soul. So like that, people glorify the Lord. Right? You see, this is a form of offering their respects, their love, expression of love, the show of their gratitude to the Lord. Right? Exactly what the Vrajavasis, the Dwarakavasis, they showed to the Lord. Now, Prabhupada gives an example of lamp and a sun. Okay? The sun is the highest source of light. The greatest intensity of light comes from the sun. Now, a devotee gets up and then he takes one small lamp, which is just burning in a wick, small lamp, and he's showing to the sun as an offering. Now, you can laugh at one point in time saying, come on, the sun is the source of all light and heat energy. What is the point in you showing that lamp to that sun? Okay. Keep this analogy in mind. Similarly, Krishna is considered the source of, all the benedictions for the living entities. He is the source of creation. Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo. He says, I'm source of all creation. He says, Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. He says, I am the one who is the benedictor of all the living entities. So, like that, if he is the one who's giver and the benedictor of all the living entities, what is it that our small presentations that we offer to the Lord will carry? Any value is there? No. But what the conclusion of the Shastra is, what it says is, it is an expression of love. It is an expression of love, and Krishna likes that, and Krishna accepts it. This is devotion, right? Krishna only gives all the food, that whatever grains that we're eating every day, it is given by the Lord. By the mercy of the Mother Earth, everything is growing from the soil and we're eating. But what are we doing? We are showing our gratitude back to the Lord. We are taking that same grains as offering to the Lord, right? And this is what we have to understand. This is called expression of devotion. This is called practice of devotion, right? Now, from Lord came the entire Veda Shastra. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Vedescha sarves ahameva vedyam. So Krishna gave all this knowledge. If there are 1 lakh verses in the Vedas, every 1 lakh verses came from the mouth of the Lord. Now, what are we doing? We are learning probably 10, 20, 30, 40 slokas and then offering it as to the Lord. And this is devotion. And Prabhupada is talking about that as the greatest part of one's devotion. Right? Now, can Raman say the yellow parts, the yellow highlights?
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Lord Krishna is described herein as Atma Rama. He is the self-sufficient, and there is no need for him to seek happiness from anything beyond himself. He is the self-sufficient because his very transcendental existence is total bliss. He is eternally existent. He is all cognizant and all blissful. Therefore, any presentation, however valuable it may be, is not needed by him. But still, because he is the well-wisher for one and all, he accepts from everyone everything that is offered to him in pure devotional service.
The yellow light, the bottom.
Yeah, it is all a sign of pure love and affection between the Lord and a devotee.
Lord, the devotees, right? So this is the whole point. Now, why we should do charity? Why we should express our love? Just keeping love in our heart is of no use. It should be expressed. The expression of love is like celebration of festivals, performing austerities, performing tapasya, giving away, which is very near and dear to us for the benefit of others or benefit of the Lord, pleasure of the Lord, is devotion. Okay? So we should take now and then opportunities on a continuous basis and keep on doing it, right? And that is how we also progress and advance in our spiritual life. Okay? Can someone read the green one?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The Lord is the Supreme Father of all living beings, and therefore those who are conscious of this vital relations with God and make
Filial
demands from the Father. And the Father is pleased to supply the demands of such obedient sons without bargaining. The Lord is just like the desired tree, and from him everyone can have everything by the causeless mercy of the Lord. As a Supreme Father, the Lord, however, does not supply to a pure devotee what is considered to be a barrier to the discharge of devotional service. Those who are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord can rise to the position of unalloyed devotional service by his transcendental attraction.
Okay. So the last line is very clear. Okay, the Lord is the supreme enjoyer and the supreme giver. He gives everything. Okay. But for devotees who are practicing pure devotion, the Lord doesn't benedict with a lot of material things and all these things. No, he doesn't reciprocate that way. He reciprocates heart to heart. He reciprocates by extreme love manifesting in the consciousness of the devotee. And that's what the Lord does. Right? And that's why you see, when Lord left Vrindavan, it is not that the few words of the Lord pacified the gopis and they said, okay, yeah, it is a reality of life. What to do? We'll just go away. They never. They were in madness of separation. They were in tears and madness of separation. And in that separation, what came? Anger did not come. Extreme love came out of that separation. And they sang songs. Gopi Geet is one such outcome of these gopis, which they sang out of extreme love due to separation of the Lord, right? And that is the benediction of the Lord, right? So you see, the Lord elevates us to higher and higher position in our spiritual practices every time that we make effort to progress. And that is the key thing. Okay. Now let's go to sloka number 6. So these are all now interaction between the Dwarakavasis where they're glorifying the Lord, right? So we will see that until we'll try to finish until the Lord reciprocates. Okay. Reciprocates here acknowledges all their glorification. Okay, now let's read 11.6. Natah smate nata sadagri pankajam virinchi vairincha surendra vanditam parayanam shemam iche ihachetam param nayatra kala prabhavat paraprabhu. Here, the one-to-one translation itself is very beautiful. Let's read that. Nataha, bowed down. Sma, we had done so unto you, Nata, O Lord. Nata means husband, right? Sada, always. Angri Pankajam, the lotus feet. So here Prabhupada is saying that this is how the consciousness of the Dwarakavasis. They're always wanting to bow down to the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. Virincha, Brahma, the first living entity. Vairincha, the sons of Brahma like Sanaka and Sanatana. Sura Indra, the king of heaven. Vanditam, worshipped by. Parayanam, the supreme. So here it says, we are worshipping the lotus feet, who is worshipped by such great personalities like Brahma, Indra, and things like that. They worship, they offer prayers, and they had paid obeisances. To that lotus feet I'm offering. Okay. So this positions uniquely how the Lord is the supreme personality of Godhead. Okay. Next, Shemam, for the welfare in this life. Ichatam, one who so desires. Sorry, Ichatam, one who desires. Param, the highest. Na, never. Yatra, wherein. Kalaha, inevitable time. Prabhavat, can exert influence. Para, transcendental. Prabhu, the supreme Lord. So it says, Lord, you're not only just worshipped by these great personalities, but you're also beyond time. You're the controller of time. Right? Now, the citizen said, O Lord, you are worshipped by all demigods like Brahma, the four Sanas. Sanas here refers to Sanat Kumaras, right? And even the king of heaven. You are the ultimate rest of those who are really aspiring to achieve the highest benefit of life. Okay? Highest benefit of life is love of God, not material things. You are the supreme transcendental Lord, an inevitable time and cannot influence upon you. Right? So like that, they're offering their prayers. Okay? This purport is also very brilliant. Can someone read the purport?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Purport. The Supreme Lord is Sri Krishna as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Samhita and other authorized Vedic literatures. No one is equal to or greater than him, and that is the verdict of all scriptures. The influence of time and space is exerted upon the dependent living entities who are all parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. The living entities are predominated Brahma, whereas the Supreme Lord is the predominating Absolute. As soon as we forget this clear fact, we are at once in illusion, and thus we are put into threefold miseries, as one is put into dense darkness. The clear consciousness of the cognizant living being is God consciousness, in which one bows down onto him in all circumstances. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So now let's go to sloka 11.7.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
The living entities are predominated Brahman, Prabhu. I did not understand that line, Prabhu.
This one, right?
The living entities are predominated Brahman, whereas the Supreme Lord is the predominating Absolute. I did not understand that line, Prabhu.
No, this is not Brahman, Brahma.
Brahman.
No, it's written Brahma.
It's given Brahman as book.
No, I see it is actually, let us see. Where it is, Parayanam. Is that Brahman?
Brahman, Prabhu. Brahman. Brahman.
Okay, so in either ways, both are true. See, the living entity predominated by Brahma or Brahman means if you take Lord Brahma as a principal creator.
In your book, it's written Brahma, Prabhu.
That's what. It doesn't matter. Both are same only.
Yes.
In the current context, it is same. So Brahma is so Krishna is a supreme creator. Okay. Now he empowers Brahmaji to do this job. So Brahma becomes secondary creator. Okay. So for us, it looks like Brahmaji is the one who's creating, but actually Brahmaji is empowered or predominated by that Supreme Lord. Okay, that is one way. Another way, if you look at it, there are spiritual planets in the spiritual sky, right? The space between the planets, like how we call as empty space or ether or whatever maybe we call here in the material world, there the space is filled with Brahman. And that Brahman is just nothing but white light, which manifests from the body of the Lord.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, for example, when creation happens, it looks like the expansion of Brahman and the cause of the solar system or something like that is getting created. So in one way, what people conclude is the source of creation is Brahman, but not understanding the fact that source of Brahman is Krishna. Okay. So in that way also it is true. If you take Brahmaji also, that is also true. So both they have the same meaning that Krishna is the primary creator, while these are all about immediate predominated active persons in actions.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So 11.7. Bhavayanastvam bhava vishva bhavana tam yeva matata sugarat patih pita tvam sadguruhu na paramam cha daivatam yashanu vrittaya kritino babuvima. Okay. Now, in this loka, you see there are words like eva mata suharat patihi pita. So they are telling the Lord, you're not only worshipable Lord, but you're also our father, you're also our mother, you're also our guru. And apart from that, you're also our well-wisher, right? You're also our well-wisher. And you also come to us in the form of Archa Vigraha, where we can worship you, right? So like that, they're telling. Look at the translation. O creator of the universe, you are our mother, well-wisher, Lord, Father, spiritual master, and worshipable deity also, right? So all are only one and the same. You've just come in different forms to us, and you're helping us. What is our duty? Our duty is just following your footsteps. We become successful in every aspect of life. What is your footsteps? Lord gives simple instructions in the Gita. Do this, do this, do that. That's all Lord is telling. Lord is not telling difficult things. In fact, if you look at the demigod worship is far more tougher than worship of the Lord Krishna, right? If you look at worship of Lord Krishna, it's very simple. Krishna says, Satatam kirtayanto mam. Just chant my holy names. Machita madgata prana. Just discuss about my pastimes, right? Krishna says, just remember me. This is devotion and this is perfection. You will come back to me at the end of this life. So you see, this he considers as the highest aspect of devotion, and this is what Lord is telling. But let's look at demigod worship. Demigod worship is very tough. If you go to demigod temples, you have to perform very intense yajna. You have to give too much of disturbance. You see people do uril seva. People do, very tough austerities, not beyond the abilities of the human body in the current circumstances. So you see, demigod worship is tougher. And even though it's tougher, you're getting only material benediction. Like you may get a house, you may get nice wealth, you may get nice wife, you may get nice children. All are material benediction. See, there is no love of God and there is no liberation here. In the previous verse, we saw Lord gives benediction to devotees as transaction. Okay, that is one level of devotion. That's it. But what is the highest level of devotion we saw? That the Lord increases the love of separation. Right? But those things don't happen in the material demigod worship. Demigod worship is clearly business. You perform something, you get a benediction. That's it. You may forget the Lord also, and then you may go to some other demigod for some other benediction, because this business transaction is over. Now you see the huge difference between love of Krishna and love of anything else, right? So this is the point that this sloka is trying to tell us here. Okay, can someone read the purport very quickly?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The all-good personality of Godhead, being the creator of the universe, also plans for the good of all good living beings. The good living beings are advised by the Lord to follow his good advice, and by doing so, they become successful in all spheres of life. There is no need to worship any deity but the Lord. The Lord is all powerful, and if he is satisfied by our obedience unto his lotus feet, he is competent to bestow upon us all kinds of blessings for the successful execution of both our material and spiritual lives. For attaining spiritual existence, the human form is a chance for all to understand our eternal relation with God. Our relation with him is eternal. It can neither be broken nor vanquished. It may be forgotten for the time being, but it can be revived also by the grace of the Lord if we follow his injunctions, which are revealed in the scriptures of all times and all places. Hare Krishna.
Right? So beautiful summary. How we can realize our relationship with him and revoke them. Revoke them by practice of devotional service. That's all. Right? Now let's look at sloka number 8. Aho sanata bhavatasma yadvayam traivishthapapanam apidura darshanam premasmita snigdha nirikshananam pashyema rupam tava sarva saubhagam. Translation. Oh, it is our good luck that we have come again today under your protection by your presence. For your lordship rarely visit even the denizens of heaven. Now, is it possible for us to look into your smiling face, which is full of affectionate glances? We can now see your transcendental form, full of auspiciousness, right? Now, here, the denizens are praying that the people of Dwaraka, they're saying that, Lord, to get your association is only formed by pure devotion service. Okay? Now, even so-called higher planetary system, right, Brahmaji or Indraloka, the people in Janaloka, people in Tapaloka, great rishis, all these people are there. But they want to see you, they want to talk to you. We've seen in the other cantos of Bhagavatham, we've seen, right, how Brahmaji offered prayers. It is not that he will go to meet the Lord personally, along with the demigods, and then say, oh Lord, we have all these problems, please help us, solve us, come incarnate. No, they can't even see the Lord. The demigods will have to pray and offer submissions to Brahmaji, like we give manifestation to ministers, not today. Like that, they submit manifestations or request letters to Brahmaji, and Brahma offers Purusha Shukta prayers to that Supreme Lord. And offering Purusha Shukta prayers, the Lord does not manifest in like Bhagavan in front of him. In his heart, he speaks. In his heart, he speaks and tells him, okay, I am going to incarnate as Varahadev now, and I will kill Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha, whatever it may be, right? So, Lord only reciprocates like that. The Lord does not reciprocate like coming as Bhagavan in front of him. That is the position of even the demigods. That's what it says here, right? He says, Traivishtapanam api dura darshanam. It is not possible. They will not get you darshan. But we, the denizens of Dwarka, are so fortunate that we get your darshan. That means we will consider to be most fortunate in this entire creation compared to anyone else. And that's what the prayers that they're offering. Okay? So they're comparing themselves.
Prabhu, can you repeat the last sentence? That is the explanation of Traivistarpanam Apiduradas.
See, the Duradarshana means that the other living entities who are in higher planetary systems, it is not that they get an opportunity to see you in person. Okay. They can only see you indirectly. But look at our state, that you are coming and living with us, and your physical rupa, the Bhagavan form, we are able to see and then realize, what else benediction that I can ask for this? I would consider this as myself as the most fortunate, is what they're offering prayers. Right? And the Lord also reciprocates. How the Lord reciprocates? So, for example, when the Lord descends, to perform his pastimes, the Lord, along with him, we read the word anturaj in the previous slokas. The anturaj refers to his associates, right? His eternal associates, they also descend along with the Lord every avatar, maybe thousands and lakhs of them. Okay? They are friends of Lord like the Pandavas. They are the wives of Lord like 16,000 queens. Their father, mother, uncle, aunt, brother, cousins, all these roles are taken by the entourage. They descend. Okay. Apart from that, Lord also gives opportunities to many Iha Devatas and to many yogis or many devotees in this material world. By practice of great devotion, by practice of a lot of austerities and things like that, many of these personalities also given a role play with the Lord so that they can perform their activities and get association with the Lord. So like that, Lord gives personal darshan to all these people. And that's what they are glorifying the Lord, that you are giving it such great, wonderful opportunity where no one in this entire creation gets it. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. So now sloka number 9, and sloka number 9 is also telling the same sloka of Yugayitam Nimishena. They're saying that you keep going away to Mathura and all these places, and every time you go away, you put us into cause of despair and separation, which we are not able to do it, right? So they're just talking about that absence of Lord. Even for 1 second, it looks like millions of years, and we're not able to tolerate it. So absence of Lord, even for a short period of time, it looks like a very long period of time, is just nothing but devotion pouring out, the love pouring out, unable to bear it, right? So that's what it says. It says, Ambujakshara Pashasara O Bhavan. So Ambuja means, here it refers to the lotus, right? So everything about the lotus, his eyes, his smile, his bodily features, everything. Lotus refers to flower with the highest beauty, right? And yet completely renounced, right? So that's why Lord is compared to lotus. Now you just read this sloka, the sloka that I want to conclude is 11.10 before we end the class today. Okay, 11.10. Katam vayam nata chiroshite tvayi prasanna dristya kila tapasoshanam jivemate sundarahasa shobhitam apashyamana vadanam manoharam iti chodirata vachaha prajanam bhakta vatsalaha shrinvano anugraham dristya vitanvan pravisatpuram. Look at the translation, so brilliant. Oh Master, you live abroad all the time. Why? Because Krishna is not in one place. He travels here, he travels every places. Then we cannot look at your attractive face, whose smiles vanquish all our suffering. If Krishna smiles, that's it. All difficulties that one was facing, materially, spiritually, everything is gone. That is the power of Krishna's smile, right? How can we exist without your presence is the question asked. But after asking this question, the Lord reciprocates. How the Lord reciprocates? Look at the reciprocation. Upon hearing their speeches, the Lord, who's very kind to the citizens and the devotees, entered the city of Dwarka and acknowledged all their greetings by casting his transcendental glance over them. Just by glancing over them, the Lord acknowledged. What does here acknowledge means? Acknowledge means two things. First, accept all the offerings given by the denizens. Denizens here means citizens. Whatever prayers, some offered prayers, some offered obeisances, some expressed great love, some offered nice garlands, some offered presentations, different kinds of offering. Everything our Lord accepted. That's the meaning of this glancing over. That's the first meaning. Okay. The second meaning, not only I'm accepting it, I'm also pleased. And that pleasure, when he glances it over as reciprocation, he benedicts all the living entities. He benedicts all the living entities. What do you say? Let's say to complete the mission of human life. Okay. Now, Prabhupada writes, now in entourage, there are two kinds of personalities. The first kind of personality is what? The eternal associates of the Lord, who descended with the Lord, right? Like we talked about, the queens, the Vrajavasis, the Panchapandavas, and the cousins, the father, mother of all the Lord, right? All these people, they descended along with the Lord. There are other sets of people, right, in the material world. They are also giving this opportunity. We talked about it, right? It could be Hidevatas, it could be Rishis, it could be Yogis, it could be Bhaktas, it could be all these people. They're given different roles along with the Lord. Now, when the Lord glances, he gives benediction. What? One, he nourishes all these people who, the entourage who descended with the Lord. That means, it tells that when my pastime is over, I will return back to the spiritual kingdom. At that time, all the people who descended along with him, I'll carry them back with me, including the paraphernalia. For example, Sudarshana, right? Even though he's a great devotee, he looks in the form of a chakra. He also travels back. His chariot, his horses, his horsemen, everything they travel back with the Lord, right? So that's the first benediction. But to the devotees who are in the material world, they still have journey to complete, correct? Either they wait for Brahmaji to die, or there are certain devotees who reach the spiritual world along with the spiritual master. So there are two kinds of journeys. So what the Lord does, Lord performs this pastime, right? That's what he speaks to speaks to Uddhava and Prabhaka Kshetra. What does he say? By my internal potency, I arranged a fight in the Yadu community, and there were certain set of devotees who need to complete the journey in the material life, but they will also return back to the spiritual kingdom. And he arranged a transcendental fight among them, and then they fought, and then they killed, and then they died. So that's the pastime he does. So he does both kinds of pastime at the same time, and it takes them all back to the spiritual world, right? So that is what the transcendental glance over to these netizens mean. Okay, and this is what the benediction of the Lord means. Because each and every living entity is eternally related, the Lord reciprocates when they offer their devotion unto the Lord, right? So this is what has been explained in the purpose by Srila Prabhupada also. Okay, so the conclusion is very simple. So let's take this conclusion very nicely. Wherever there is devotion, wherever there is katha, Lord appears. Just like how Lord appears from Hastinapur to Dwarka, because Lord saw devotion by the devotees and love of separation. So Lord came. So that means wherever there is devotion, if you practice devotion in your house, Lord enters your house. Okay? If there's devotion in your heart, Lord enters your heart. Okay? Now, after Lord enters, right, if we express our love, if we express our love in these formats like how Dwarakavasis are expressing, great reception, great offerings, the Lord reciprocates. The Lord reciprocates in today's scenario, the Lord reciprocates to devotees in the form of, extreme satisfaction and transcendental bliss in whatever he's doing. There is no dissatisfaction. He wants to do that again and again. When that feeling he develops, that means the Lord has reciprocated. Okay, so that's how we conclude understanding of Lord entering Dwarka from Hastinapur. Okay, so is the summary clear?
Yes. What is the word you used for his associates who come?
Entourage.
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 Okay, entourage. Okay.
Prabhu, here I want to tell one particular point, Prabhu.
Yes, ma'am.
When the Lord came back, Prabhu, the devotees got nourished and were joyful. Their fear got vanished. So you were telling about like one important point that we need to preach whatever we have learned. So this important point, if we apply to the neophyte devotees now, Prabhu, it will work wonders, because these neophytes are coming with the complete confusion or illusion they are. So when we can help them out, no Prabhu, Lord also will really bless us, as well as the neophytes also will be internally blessed also, no Prabhu.
Yes, yes, yes. There's a difference between practicing devotee and neophyte devotees. Yeah. So one day I was at the farm, my organic farm, and then I wanted a supervisor. Okay. So I was looking for an experienced agriculturist, PhD like that. So I'll take him and try to do here, because mine was natural. I follow a method called ZBNF, zero budget natural farming. Okay. Now, when we hired these highly learned professional, we were unsuccessful. So I was not sure why we are unsuccessful. So in my conversation with some other associates like this, they were saying, see, when they come with the predetermined knowledge, prefixed knowledge, there's nothing that you're going to teach them. They will do what they want to do only, and they're not going to take any input from us. And hence, you see, all our ideas do not gel with them properly. Even if it gels only for a transient period of time, it'll again go away. Now, when I take a new fresher from college, I'm going to teach him, and he's going to learn all new things, and he's going to be molded in that manner. So you see that his performance is far superior than a learned performance. Now, I used to think like that, and then I was thinking, the dealing with neophyte devotees versus dealing with fully learned devotees in a particular cult or in a particular manner. It's so difficult to change them. But neophyte devotees are pure in heart, simple in heart, easy to accept whatever is being told in the scriptures, and they move on a journey of life. Right? So, simple thinking, simple living, high thinking is very apt even in such scenarios.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, this in the purport, Antaraj means, Dwaraka, it is mentioned, Prabhu.
Dwarakavasis, it means associates.
Oh.
It means associates of the Lord.
Associates of the Lord. Okay. Thank you.
It can be eternal associates, reference to people who descend from the spiritual planets, or people in this material world who are great devotees and then who are also associates of the Lord. It means both.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. The city of Dwaraka is called Anartha. What is any specific meaning, Prabhu?
So it means where all wrong understanding about a particular thing is all completely eradicated. That's what it means.
Thank you.
You must have seen in the sloka here, right?
The first one.
First sloka, huh?
Yes, I think first sloka.
To the country of
The translation it is.
Dwaraka, yeah, it's here. Anarthan, right? So it says where they're always in remembrance of the Lord, in association of the Lord. They don't have any other, practices or any other opinions or anything like that. So that's why it's called Anarthan.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So what is the meaning of Puri, Prabhu? Is there any meaning for the place Puri?
I don't have never thought like that. I mean, I thought it's just like a pronoun, but after you asked, maybe you have to check. Maybe there is a book called Kshetra Parikrama by Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj, where he's written only about Puri.
Puri Jagan, yes.
So maybe we can refer to that book to see what does this Puri mean.
Okay, I'll look into it.
You have the book, Kshetra Parikrama?
Yes, sir.
Just check in that book. Maybe Maharaj has written in that book.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, Lord is called, Vrindavana Krishna and Vasudeva Krishna. How is it to be differentiated, Prabhu?
See, Lord performs his pastimes in Vrindavan. So he's called Vrindavan Krishna. So when you're saying Vrindavan Krishna, you're referring to the Lord in a context of his activities, his association, and all his pastimes in Vrindavan. That's what it means to. Okay. Now, when you say Lord as Achyuta, you will not say Lord as Achyuta in Vrindavan. Okay, because in Vrindavan, there's no question of fall down and things like that, right? But when you say Achyuta in another context, you say, see, we are all fallen souls, but Lord doesn't, there's no question of Lord falling down. So hence Lord is called Achyuta. So what reference you are speaking to, a particular language, a particular contextual meaning you're referring to, you refer to that meaning of the Lord. Now you are now trying to tell Vasudeva Krishna. When do you say Vasudeva Krishna? When you want to refer Lord to his lineage, right? You can refer to his lineage as, okay, Vasudeva is a great king, very able administrator, and then like that, when you want to talk about qualities of Vasudeva, then you refer Lord as Vasudeva Krishna. Okay. So like that, you always refer to Lord with respect to the point that you're referring to. Okay. So when will you call Lord as Govinda? You will call Govinda when in two contexts. One, Lord is the primeval Lord. That means he's the first ever Lord, first ever personality who came into existence, and we don't know what time when, right? So you call him as Govinda. So that is when you call him as Govinda. Or you'll call Govinda as the Lord who will give us transcendental bliss and pleasure whenever we connect with him, or whenever we serve him, or whenever we are practicing devotion. So like that, you call the Lord as Govinda. So like that, each and every meaning, when you are attaching Krishna to a particular word, it gives contextual reference. That's what it is.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, with reference to your first conversation in this class, that you told that we need to preach other friends, and this particular knowledge which we are getting from you, or from Bhagavad Gita.
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah, from Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
So in the last 18th.65 and 66, Sri Krishna is telling that Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Ta Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shucha. This is the Param Guhya Jnan I am giving you. Okay. So in the next sloka, he is telling that idam te na paskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na chashu shrushaiva vacham na chama yobhyasu yati. Means those who are not in the devotional services or not devotees, you should not tell this knowledge to that particular person. So how we can identify whom to tell this particular knowledge, give this particular knowledge, or means who is the devotee and who is not devotee? How we can identify that? Because in this particular material world, no, most of the people are living in the Maya, including us also. But it's very difficult to understand whom to give this knowledge, because if we try to give anyone this particular knowledge, then they will tell something else to us like that. So how we can identify?
Okay, Prabhuji, you divide the sections of knowledge into 3 or 4 levels. Okay. Now, the highest levels of knowledge, we'll be talking about the Rasa Leela, the Gopi Geet, very, very intimate pastimes of the Lord. That is the highest level of knowledge. Okay. Now, if I go to an atheist and I straight away talk to him, oh, this is how Lord manifested his highest pastimes. This is how Parakyaras was. This is how Raslila was. What he will think? He will say, oh, that means Lord also had a lot of girlfriends and enjoyed all this multi-women scenario. I also will enjoy. That's how he'll think. Correct? Right? So, you see, his ability to understand the meaning and the ability to comprehend reality to what is being taught in the scriptures is not possible, because the mind is full of anarthas. Anartha nivarti has not just happened for him. So hence, he will commit more mistakes rather than helping one person to perform devotion. So this is the issue. So the 4th level, which is considered the highest level of knowledge, cannot be taught to a person when he's entering Krishna conscious. Right? So now what we did, 4 levels we kept. Level 4 is highest, level 1 is the lowest. In level 1, the lowest knowledge is what? Simply, boss, see, today how can the 4 seasons happen so perfectly? How can the earth float in the space without being stringed to anything else? When no object in this world can float, how is the earth alone can float? right? How the rotation and the manifestation of nature is so perfect. Okay, we are born in a very temporary period of time, and then we die after that period of time. In the temporary period of time, why should we have so much of attachment? So the first step of preaching is to bring them to the platform of God consciousness. Differentiate between presence of God and absence of God. That is the first level of preaching. And when you see there is some progress, yes, I accept there is God. When there is a change of consciousness at that level, then what you preach, you start to preach about little bit about activities of the Lord, about the Lord's presence in our day-to-day life. See what all happens in our life. Like that you preach. And then next level you preach, yes, see, there is some slokas like this. You recite these slokas, eat prasadam, be a pure man, be truthful in your life, like that. So you take him step by step, and then you reach level 1 completion, then go to level 2, then level 3, and level 4, you talk about personal features of the Lord, the glories of the Lord. So this is how one needs to structure his preaching. You cannot preach the highest level of the Lord to a neophyte or a new person. You have to teach very entry level. First, establish presence of God, God consciousness, bring him that platform. Then go to the next platform. So this is how we have to take it.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Now, I'll give you an example. Prabhupada wrote this book called the Krishna book. Okay. It has got nice stories of Krishna. Now, Prabhupada gave this book to a small girl. Her name was Saraswati. Okay. Now, what Saraswati, and Saraswati asked Prabhupada, what is this book? He said, this contains, all pastimes of the Lord. Now, Prabhupada wanted people to read these pastimes of the Lord just like bedtime stories, simple stories, and enjoy that pastime and nourish their heart, because if some nourishment comes to the heart, then it is an opportunity for love of God to enter. That means they can start practicing devotion. Now, this Saraswati, what she did, she went to a train, she got into a train, and then she showed around that book to everyone and said, see, this person on this book, he is God. We are always asking who is God? No, he is God. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada said, this is preaching. You see how preaching has begun. Preaching has begun in the simplest form. Preaching did not begin with talking about rasa dance. Preaching began in the simplest form to explain that there is God in this world. You can know something about this God, read these bedtime stories of this. Like that only preaching began. So we can do in many, many simple formats, and to anyone for that matter, slowly bring them. Now, when we bring them to Krishna conscious, there'll be resistance. Some people say, no, I don't want to practice. I don't want to do all these things. I am a hater of this. I am an atheist. I am not believer all these things. Such people you leave. Don't persuade them. Persuade people who show inclination towards God consciousness. Those are even. That itself is a big audience that you have. So practice with that thought, and Krishna will help you.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank
you. A very good question, Prabhu. Thank
you. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, in the interest of time, shall we end the class here today?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. Grandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Tat Sat.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Dandavat
Dandavat
Pranam, Prabhu.
Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu,
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.